Now they speak of Christianity, belief in the validity of as unbelief. What that means is that section 08.7, paragraph 20, and section W4.1, paragraph 2. It is kufr, right? It is apostasy for a Muslim to believe that Christianity is a valid religion. This is Islamic law. This is a very unambiguous, very clear ruling. For a Muslim to claim, for a Muslim to teach, for a Muslim to think, believe, or to say that Christianity is a valid belief is apostasy, because Christianity is invalid. It is din al-batil. It is worthless. In fact, batil is one of the names of Satan. So we are now a religion of Satan. Understand? It is unbelief. And of course, they speak of supersession of by Islam. We've been superseded by Islam. We are kafirs because we refuse to pray behind Muhammad, right? We refuse to accept Muhammad's teachings. And of course, they speak of the delusions. Christians, the delusions of. Section S 1.2. Christians, the delusions of. We are deluded. I'll have a brief look into that in a minute. Right, now, Allah condemns the Jews and the Christians. Okay, does Allah condemn the Jews and Christians for anything besides being this way when he says they grasp at the paltry things of this low life and say, we shall be forgiven? So when Islam speaks of the delusions of the Christians, what they're saying is that we believe that we have forgiveness through the atonement, the death of Jesus. They're saying that we are deluded to think that this action brought us salvation. We are deluded in believing this. So if you look at Tafsir Ibn Kathir, Quran verse 7, Quran chapter 7 verse 169, they wish and hope from Allah while deceiving themselves. So we are deluded. So yeah, so just keep that in mind, guys. Okay, and that is the end of part 1. So let me have a look at Surah 9 abrogates the entire Quran. That's exactly so. Yasir Qadi does go on in his book. If you read through the book, at the end, the conclusion, he speaks of chapter 9, and he does talk about it. And he says, yeah, basically it abrogates everything. And then he goes and says, no, it doesn't. But read it yourself. I mean, hell, maybe I'm wrong. But he reads it. He goes, yeah, it abrogates this. It abrogates all the agreements. It abrogates everything that came before it. It abrogates all understanding. We're not supposed to be nice to Christians. All these things that tell us to be patient and tolerant, it actually abrogates the lot. Go and kill them. And then he says, actually, well, basically, no, there's no real evidence of abrogation. And there's maybe 5 verses abrogated. And actually, no, 9.5 doesn't abrogate anything. It abrogates everything, but it doesn't abrogate anything. Read it yourself, see if it makes sense to you. Maybe I'm stupid. Hell, I don't know. But read it yourself, download the book, check it out, and see his conclusion. I would question anything he says there, because you can go to the Sharia itself, and the Sharia is very explicit. There is no confusion there. So, yeah. So, yeah, hadith over Quran and the Sharia, that is exactly the case, pinpoint. So, Sunan Abu Dawud, Aisha, wife of the Prophet, and Salama said, Aisha used to ask the daughters of her sisters and the daughters of her birth to give him breastfeed 5 times. Yeah, disgusting stuff. So Muhammad is the Antichrist, exactly. But don't forget, in Islam, they think Jesus is not the Antichrist. Our concept of Jesus, not their Isa, but our Jesus is the Antichrist in Islam. So yeah, guys, final point. If you're a Muslim, you will let me know what school of fiqh you follow, because then I can check your Sharia manuals and see if you're talking out of your backside, right? And if you refuse to provide sourced, verifiable legal rulings, I don't think that when you say, I think that, no, that's not valid. Tell me what your scholars say. Tell me what the founders of your school of fiqh say. Tell me what's written in Islamic law. I really don't care what you think. I'm not interested, right? I don't want your fairy tale opinions. If you are Muslim and are going to comment, you will provide this information. I'll just delete your comments. I really don't care. Honestly, I don't care. So, yeah. And books you can use are Reliance of the Traveler, the Umdat al-Salik. Okay, and there's the Hadaya, which is the most common. So technically, the Reliance is a summary document. It's a very, very good Sharia manual summary of everything. And the Hadaya is still in use today, right? The Hadaya is very much, it's 4 volumes. It's 2,652 pages, if I counted them correctly. That is still very much, because it's part of the Hanafi school of jurisprudence. Although when they say that this book belongs to this school of jurisprudence, it doesn't mean it's strictly that, because they all reference each other. right? They all reference each other. They all reference rulings from different schools because different scholars were experts in a given field. So they will use this guy from this school. His expertise on this particular subject will go into the other schools. So they can't tell you, well, that's Hanafi and we're Shafi and we just don't. Yeah, nonsense, nonsense. Don't believe that. Okay. So yeah, I will link those in the description. The links to these books. You're welcome to look through those. KL. So when Yasser Qadi invited James White to speak and share the gospel in a mosque, was that a violation of Sharia? Look, that's PR, right? That's PR. Technically, it is. Technically, but don't forget, there's rukhsa. There's also different levels of deception, right? If Islam is a political system, then it's allowed to have PR. They're allowed to do anything. Remember, you can break this. Look, just like Eskimos have like 20 words for snow, Islam has like 9 words for lying, right? Your major doctrine of lying is called hiyal, right? Legal trickery, legal deception, right? Because Islam's a religion of lawyers, right? This all falls under rukhsa, which is facilitation, which allows you to break just about every tenet of Islam for convenience sake, right? And hiyal is how to do that. And then all the other forms of deception fall under that, right? The basis is hiyal, but the fact is it's allowed to lie, right? And don't forget, lying is obligatory in Islam if the aim that you want to achieve is obligatory. So in Islam, and I've covered this in other shows and we can do this another time, but the Sharia makes it obligatory to lie. It is compulsory to lie if achieving the goal is obligatory, right? So yeah, guys. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, please, yep, like, share, subscribe, all of that kind of good stuff. Let people know and understand. You need to understand the Sharia. You need to read through these manuals and don't take everything you read at first glance as the truth, right?